This is Dream Chasers, episode 48, with Gino Barbaro. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Adam Carswell, and welcome to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. On Dream Chasers, we interview individuals with supernatural amounts of potential based on early success in their careers. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's get straight to the interview. Hey guys, this is Adam Carswell, and today I'm joined by Gino Barbaro. Gino is the co-host of Wheelbarrow Profits. He's originally from Brooklyn, New York, went to Fairfield University in Connecticut, and now lives in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. Gino, thank you for being on the show. And do you have any opening remarks for our listeners?
Adam, thanks for having me. I'm ready to go. I'm pumped, ready to go, ready to share the story, ready to share the message, and ready to tell your listeners why multifamily is a great niche.
Awesome. So I first discovered Gino when I heard him and his counterpart, Jake, on a show. Gino, actually, I can't remember if I even told you this, but you were on Hunter Thompson's show, the Cash Flow Connections podcast. And your interview just caught my attention, captivated me. There was a line that either you or Jake used about how there's trillions of dollars, lots of money out there. It's up to us to just basically be the ones who are creative and figure out ways to get our hands on that money, because there's definitely not a lack of an existence of money.
I agree, and that came from the book MJ DeMarco wrote. I think it was Millionaire Fastlane, and he talks about trillions of dollars every day floating around in the currency markets, and it's our duty to grab some of it. I mean, there's not a scarcity. There's an abundance of money out there. The scarcity is the abundance of ideas that are out there.
Definitely. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for resharing it. Maybe we'll get it hammered home one more time throughout this interview. Yeah. And then so Gino and I connected on LinkedIn, started messaging, and really it was a done deal from there. And now it's a great honor to have someone who I once looked up to as a successful podcaster here on Dream Chasers now. So here we go. Gino, how long have you been running Wheelbarrow Profits?
We started in 2015, late 2015. We've got about 4 years worth of shows. We're getting close to the million downloads on iTunes. We've got about 100,000 on Spreaker. It's a niche podcast. It's all about multifamily. So we're not out there flipping homes. We're not out there talking about currency. We're really talking about multifamily. And, we have really transitioned a little bit more into the gen biz and personal development, because multifamily and any real estate investment truly turns into a business. I mean, multifamily is a business. If you're flipping homes, that should be run as a business. So it's been a lot of fun. I've been able to talk to so many smart people, spend that hour with somebody, pick their brain, and it's just been so much fun for me.
Definitely. So Gino, we are now going to step into the next level chamber. When did you realize this was something you wanted to take to the next level?
When I was in my kitchen washing dishes, doing $12 an hour work, saying to myself, I can't be here. This is a waste of time. I'm negotiating an $11 million deal and I'm washing dishes. So I just want to get out of that business and do something that's fulfilling.
I'm curious, because that wasn't too long ago. So what was your thought process for you? Kind of like, you want to figure out a way to monetize Wheelbarrow Profits, or what did that look like?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. I was probably 2014. I have a bunch of kids. I have 6 kids. We homeschool the kids, and I'm saying to myself, I don't want to work weekends anymore. I don't want to work holidays anymore. I don't want to work 60 plus hours a week at a job that I don't like. And that was a thought process. So I'm like, we need to ramp up the real estate. We need to ramp up anything to get me out of the restaurant. So my motivation was moving away from pain. So I saw real estate as that vehicle. And, once you get into it, everyone's short-sighted. Everyone thinks about appreciation or cash flow, right? But we've been able to really, what I call multifaceted, we've been able to create Wheelbarrow Profits and the podcast and the educational platform to be able to monetize that. But not even that, be able to meet people, be able to find deals through the platform, be able to find vendors, be able to create great relationships and learn how to invest better. And from there, we created a syndication company called Rand Partners. We're doing our second syndication right now. So raising money, creating, monetizing from that business. So from one little property that you start out with, and you start out with that, you just start continually growing. And I learned the whole syndication model through our podcast. So great way to educate yourself.
Yeah. And being in this entrepreneurial space, how have you how have you seen Wheelbarrow Profits impact your main focus of business, the multifamily investing? In what ways has that made things better or maybe worse?
Well, I mean, for the better, I mean, it's made everything better, right? So it's shown me that I need to continue to learn. If anyone is out there is listening and you hear the experts out there, no one is really an expert because things are constantly changing and you always need to learn and up your game. So from that perspective, it's been able to give me an incredible amount of knowledge where I can sit down and just listen to people. I mean, other than that, just the ability to build a business and ability to look at multifamily as a business. That's what the podcast has allowed me to do. And it's, like I said, it's allowed me to connect with people like you, Adam. It's been able to give me the credibility also when I speak to brokers or when I speak to potential investors or potential partners, or I'm on stage. Hey, I've got a really pretty cool podcast that I can share with you. And I've got a best-selling book. We're writing another one. So it gives you a lot of credibility when you're going and looking at deals and you're trying to create relationships.
Yeah, I agree. And as I even asked that question, I'm thinking to myself, why did I even ask what's the worst thing that comes out of it? Because it really, it's really such a positive experience being able to put together your own show and host it. And I guess I just use this as a piece of advice for anyone who's listening, who's thinking about it. Podcasting. Yeah, go ahead.
Adam, it's not hard. It's not easy though, because as you start getting more successful, it'll take you 10 or 12 or 15 emails to get a Robert Kiyosaki on. It'll take me 25 emails to get a T. Harv Eker on. People will say no to you. So it's one of those things where, and they're not saying no to you, they're saying no to your offer because they're extremely busy. As you go up the food chain, it takes a lot more people saying no to you. That's part of the problem. I'll say yes to anybody. I'll spend an hour with anybody on any podcast right now. My schedule still allows that, and I love to do that, and I love to talk, and I'm always honing my craft, and I'm always learning, and you never know who you meet, but there are people out there who are so extremely busy. Try to get someone like a Gary Vee on the podcast.
Right.
It's possible, but I spend hours of time trying to book somebody like that, and then when he doesn't come on, it can be disheartening, but you just have to say to yourself, hey, you try, you give it your best shot, and just patience and persistence. So there are some negatives. Obviously, you need to spend a lot of time, but the positives far outweigh the negatives.
Absolutely. And I think to what you're saying there, it still shows how, for example, imagine not having a podcast and trying to get on the phone with Robert Kiyosaki or Gary Vee, Grant Cardone. It's amazing how it still serves as a ticket to have those conversations that maybe you normally wouldn't have.
Let me give you a tip to the listeners. What I do is I will read one of their books. I got MJ DeMarco on my podcast. I read his book. I did a book review. I connected with him. I said, hey, I love your book. I did a book review. Here, share it with your audience. Oh, by the way, can you come on my podcast? I'd love to share your message. You've already given them something. It's reciprocity. And most of the time they will say yes. Now, obviously the bigger dudes might say no to that, but I've gotten Dean Graziosi on. I've gotten Cameron Herold on, T. Harv Eker on, all with that same strategy, reading it, preparing myself for the interview, writing a book review on it, sharing it with them, telling them to share it. And then when they come on the podcast, that's another, piece that I have that I can share with my audience. So you got to spend time. And that's, how many hours of that? It takes you 5-6 hours to read a book, another 5 or 6 hours or whatever to write the book review, but it's really worth it.
Definitely. And that reminds me. So one book that I'm reading right now, which I can't believe it's taken me this long to finally pick it up, but How to Win Friends and Influence People. Very,
yes.
Have you read that?
Dale Carnegie. Yes, I have read it. He's great. It's an awesome book.
And what I've taken from it so far is, this is also a famous Zig Ziglar quote, but help people get what they want, and what you want will begin to align naturally. And with what you're saying about writing the reviews, giving that reciprocity, basically giving that author what they want, things will fall in line.
That's right. You always have to figure out what the other side wants, how you can create value for them, and it's a typical Bob Berg message out there. Basically, see what the other side wants. Try to build that rapport with them. And then if you can figure that out and you can help them, people are more willing to help you, because it's the radio station. I know you heard the radio station, WII-FM. What's in it for me? That's what everyone leads with. And if everyone's looking for what they want, you as an entrepreneur has to figure out how you can solve their problem. And for all these guys that I've mentioned, they're just trying to get their message out. We're just trying to get our message out to the people. And by doing that, getting on more shows and trying to be exposed is the way to do it. And for me to solve their problem, I'm trying to write something about them. And then I share that information with my community so that message spreads even more.
Yeah. And in regards to right now, helping each other get what it is that we want. I mean, I have to ask you now, through being on this show, throughout this interview? What is it that you want? How can I continue to add value to you throughout this interview and even after?
I mean, for me, I'm playing with house money. I always tell Jake that. I mean, I basically became financially free. I call it March 1st of 2016. My goal right now in life is just to grow the Jake and Gino community, to try to help as many people become financially free through multifamily investing. And I think, the education, the community, the platform that we're building is what my focus is right now. We're doing events, we're doing meetups. So, I mean, as far as that goes, just when you go out there and you talk to people, say, hey, Jake and Gino are teaching multifamily, and they're still doing multifamily. So they're both. So, I mean, just to spread the message and just to say you need to find a community. You need to find like-minded people to help you get into the game, because it's not easy. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You're not going to get your first deal in 2 months. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of preparation. You're going to have a lot of hard days, a lot of pitfalls. But if you can figure out what your why is, we can teach you how to do it.
Nice. And 2 questions off of that. 1, are you guys hiring? Are you looking to bring on talent to help grow that brand? And then 2, where are some of these speaking engagements that you have had or are going to have, so that way people can stay up to speed with your progress?
We're always looking to bring on guys who can sell education. That's what we're trying to do. We're out there trying to sign students up. So we have a great educational platform. As far as the events, we're having our live event in October, the 19th and 20th. At the Gaylord Palms in Orlando. It's going to be about 600 people at this event. Last year we did it in Nashville. We had 400 in Nashville. We outgrew that venue, so it's really good. There's no pitch fest at that one. It's a really feel-good 2-day weekend. I picked Orlando because of the family. I went to Disney before then, so I'm sure a lot of people that are going to come out. It's going to be cool because we're also going to have something there that is pretty different than multifamily. We're going to be doing some family stuff. We're going to have spouses roundtable, because I think a lot of the issues that we have are a lot of students come on board and their spouses aren't on board with them, or they have reservations or questions. So same thing with me. When I started multifamily, my wife had the same reservations, but we worked through it. We just spoke, that communication, telling her, listen, I hate my job. I want to do something different, helped out a lot. So a lot of the students have those issues. So we're definitely going to be bringing that to the table at the event.
Nice. Yeah, and it's good to hear that a lot of the people coming through your pipeline, you've been in their shoes before. I'm sure that helps a lot in regards to the project.
It does, and people resonate with it. And we're not getting young guys like the typical, I want to get rich. Now we have people who are successful in life with their careers, but they just know something's missing. They know that time is precious. They know that they want to build a business, or they want to know even just to create some passive income. A multifamily, you can invest in multifamily in so many different ways. You can invest as a passive investor. You can invest with a partnership. You can invest in doing day-to-day operations. Whatever it is you want to get out of it, you can invest. The problem is most people, when they think about it, all they think about is, I've got to buy a building by myself. Where am I going to get down payment? How am I going to do this? So that's the problem with a person's mindset. It's dispelling those beliefs and letting them know that there are other ways to invest in the space. And let me, start with baby steps. Maybe you start out by raising money for somebody, or you start out by being a limited partner in a syndication. Just get your feet wet, see how the process works, and take it from there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious about the events that you guys are doing. What's your long-term goal? Is it something similar to what we see with Grant Cardone doing with 10X? Do you want to be speaking in front of 20,000 plus people? Do you like it how it is?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought out that far, to be completely honest with you. I'm comfortable with doing 600 people, 800 people. The size doesn't matter. I'd rather have quality over quantity, to be completely honest with you. I'd rather have people who are engaged. I'd rather grow a community that's like-minded. We might not have millions of people who want multifamily, but there is a personal development side to it. That's why people resonate with us. Also, I'm a life coach, so a lot of works into play. If you're not going to do multifamily, you're still learning business skills. You're still learning personal development skills. You're still creating amazing relationships, and you still have the ability to invest with our community if you so choose to do that. As far as the events go, that's a great question. We're doing money mixers also for our students. So we're, this past weekend down here in Jacksonville, we rented out a bus. We toured 2 properties. We had 60 students down here with deal sponsors. So the students came, they networked together, they met the deal sponsors. We had a syndication panel afterwards. So, the problem with what people see in education is they think it's too expensive. It's not the education aspect that you get the value from, although a lot of it is. It's it's also making those relationships. It's also saying, hey, I need an insurance broker. Do you have one, Gino? Yep, I have a syndication attorney. I have an insurance agent. I have a cost segregation specialist. We have property management companies. We know people that we can introduce you to. And then when you get around other like-minded individuals, that's where the magic starts happening. That's where you start networking with people and creating those lifelong relationships.
And I'm sure you have individuals that you work with now that are coming in from all 50 states, maybe even different parts of the world. So when you're referring industry experts, service providers, as you just mentioned, are they all, for example, if someone in Alaska is listening now, they maybe need help with their taxes. Do you have people that can service basically all 50 states?
In certain industries, of course, cost segregation can do it anywhere. A syndication attorney can work anywhere. Our broker writes in all 50 states. Trying to think of other. CPA, we have a firm that does it remotely. We have designers who do a lot of design work, who can do website work. So a lot of those people, we can supply them to. And it's not even that. It's if you have questions on it, we can help you with the questions. And we have other students who might be in Alaska say, hey, listen, do you have anybody in Alaska who's an attorney? And people referring other students, those people. Let's say you're looking at a deal in Alabama. We have students in Alabama. You can ask, hey, about a property management company. They network and they'll share those resources, which is awesome.
Yeah. Wow. That's very valuable. So I'm assuming now just help me go down the rabbit hole more and more here. So with your community, when students come through your pipeline, do you have like a Facebook group or LinkedIn group where everyone can interact after they go through your coursework? How does that
Yeah, well, we have a weekly lesson every Monday at 12 p.m. We have students getting on. I'm on every Monday at 12. I'm just doing a weekly lesson. This week, we just did tips on raising capital with one of our coaches. Last week, we had a property inspector on talk about the inspection process. The week before, we had our insurance agent talking about insurance. The week before that, we had another coach on talking about what makes a deal. So we love the weekly. That's all about the accountability. So every Monday at noon, we have it. We record it. We answer students' questions on there. We do have a very, very active private Facebook group with about 600 members on there. It's all multifamily, all guys asking questions, posting deals done. It's exciting because the private Facebook group is where people interact, and you need to have that accountability. You need to see the inspiration from other students that they're doing 20-unit deals, 40-unit deals. If they can do it, you can do it. And it's a great place to ask questions. Love that. We have an online platform that's hosted by Kajabi, so we have all our education on there. And, we have great coaches. I mean, the coaches that we have, they're doing deals. They've done deals, and they're teaching on it. And, the education part is the accountability. Every 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to get on a call with the coach. You're going to find out what your plan is, and you're going to execute that plan. And when you get on that next call, you better be prepared. You better have done your homework. That's the important thing, that accountability piece where people want to do it on their own, but then all of a sudden their job gets busy, or they have a baby, or they lose their job, or whatever may get in the way in life. When you have that accountability holding you accountable, that's what makes you more successful.
And so this question, I want to gear it more towards, since you started Wheelbarrow Profits, because it sounds like maybe looking back at life, there is a few things, as you mentioned, it took you a while to transition from dishwashing or whatever else you may have been doing to where you are now. So since that epiphany moment up until now, can you give an example of something that maybe you wish you would have done differently looking back?
I probably should have scaled up Jake and Gino sooner. I probably should have hired somebody sooner to help out with the education. When you come from owning one restaurant for 20 years and you're doing it all yourself, that I'm a mentality, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, gets in the way sometimes. And, it's funny. I had one restaurant for 25 years. We started buying property back in 2013, me and Jake. Within 5 years, we've owned over 1,000 units, just me, Jake, and my partner, Mike. We've syndicated our first deal back in November, 130 units, and now we're syndicating a 243-unit deal, which should be closed in the next couple of weeks. That makes no sense, right? I mean, from one restaurant in 25 years to 1,500 units in 6 years, right? And we're going to continue to grow, and we've got multiple businesses. I think the thing is, what I would have liked to have done differently was maybe not have such a scarcity mindset and really try to attract better talent and try to have more of a vision of what I want to have in life. I'm reading the book Leaders Eat Last, and it's so clear to me.
Book. Simon Sinek, I think.
Yeah, it's all about culture, and it's all about the leader at the top. And it's unfortunate what's going on with our corporations and all. It's all about them grabbing power and not really leading, right? I mean, everyone's got that scarcity mindset that I might lose my job. At Jake and Gino, I want to have that open relationship. Our goal and our duty is to educate our students and to have that platform where they can meet, they can get together. And if somebody can't make the payment or is just not willing to, I don't want to sell a product if they're not ready to lock and load and take it seriously. So that's one of the things that I wish I would have done. I wish I have really thought about that growth mindset, that abundance mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's clear that you've thought of that at this point, and things are definitely changing for the better.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right. So we got 3 fun questions to close this out, Gino. Here we go. First one is, what is your favorite caffeinated beverage? Second one is your favorite city in Italy, hence your very Italian name, Gino Barbaro. And what is your favorite interview that you have ever been a guest on?
Favorite caffeinated beverage. I'm a double espresso guy. No sugar. Make it nice and strong for me. Forget about this latte and all this Starbucks crap. Just give me a real good espresso. That's all I crave for. The second one is easy. I mean, a city of Rome. If anyone has ever been to Rome, you could spend 2 weeks in Rome and marvel at how amazing they were 2,000 years ago, paving roads, having sewers, having septics, it's just amazing what they were able to do. The aqueducts, the beautiful churches there. Unbelievable. I love it. The catacombs. I can go there and spend weeks on it. And my mom was born about an hour and a half away from there. So I've been there multiple times, going to the Vatican. It's just an amazing experience. I think everybody, if you've got that opportunity, take that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And the third one, I've been on so many podcasts. I'm just trying to think of one that really, really stuck out. The Hunter Thompson one, that was actually a good one. He's a really smart dude. I like his business model, and I enjoyed myself in that podcast.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to let him know. He's been an incredible inspiration and great person to work with for myself as well.
That's awesome, dude.
Gino, what's the best way for listeners to contact you, after everything we discussed, especially if they, are interested in becoming students?
Just go onto the website, jakeandgino.com. I've got over 100 articles that I've written there. We've got our podcast there. The podcast is Wheelbarrow Profits. Just go on there, listen to the podcast if you're interested in multifamily. That's an easy way to get to me. My email address is gino@jakeandgino.com. Hit me up. Any questions? Love to help you guys out. We've got some free resources on the website also. If you guys want to subscribe to our podcast, I will send you out a free PDF copy of our book too. So
cool. Perfect. You said a free PDF copy of the book?
Yep. Or book Wheelbarrow Profits. Yes.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks once again, Gino. Any closing remarks?
Just keep pushing onto your dream. We were not put on this planet to pay the bills. Just remember that. Paying the bills is not what's going to make you excited, right? Thinking about what you want to do in the future, thinking about what your why is. If you can figure out your why, you'll figure out how to do it. And just have fun and enjoy every day.
So true. Thank you very much. All right, guys. This has been another episode of Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. We will catch you in the next episode. Remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.